Welcome to Lotus Lane Daily. I'm glad you're here. Today's wisdom is for anyone going through something hard. You know that feeling when your phone rings and before you even pick up, you already know what it is going to be? Another crisis. Another situation that somehow falls to you. A bill your sibling hasn't paid, a parent who needs a doctor's appointment arranged, a family emergency that everyone else is wringing their hands about while quietly waiting for you to step in and fix it. And you do. You always do. Because if you don't, it doesn't get done. And you learned that lesson a long time ago. Being the responsible one in a family sounds like a compliment. In practice, it often feels like being the designated mule. You carry things other people set down. You make decisions other people avoid. You worry about things other people somehow manage to sleep through. And over time, the weight of it builds into something that is hard to name but impossible to ignore. A kind of exhausted resentment mixed with guilt for feeling resentful at all, mixed with a faint terror that if you ever stopped, everything would fall apart. How you got here. Nobody sat you down and gave you this job. It accumulated. Maybe you were the eldest, and responsibility came with the territory. Maybe you were the most capable, and so things naturally drifted toward you. Maybe there was a parent who struggled and you stepped up young before you had any language for what you were doing. Maybe you just discovered early that showing up prevented disasters, and the habit never broke. There is a particular type of family system where one person takes on the function of stabilizer, the one who holds the pieces together, who buffers conflict, who manages the anxiety so others don't have to feel it as much. Therapists sometimes call this being parentified, or being the family's emotional regulator. It doesn't require anyone to be villainous. It can happen in ordinary families where ordinary people unconsciously sorted themselves into roles, and the roles calcified. What makes it so hard to change is that the system rewards you for staying in place. You are needed. You are depended on. There is a quiet identity in it, of being the capable one, the one who can handle things. And there is a genuine fear underneath. If I stop, who gets hurt? What falls apart? That fear is not paranoia. It is often based on real experience, the specific pain of it. The loneliness of this position is rarely talked about. Everyone can see you coping, so nobody asks if you are okay. You handle things so smoothly that the difficulty is invisible. And when you try to say you are overwhelmed, the response is often disbelief. From family members who have never had to carry what you carry, who genuinely don't understand because they have been shielded from it. There is also the slow burn of unequal effort. You have watched siblings or relatives live more freely, make choices that prioritize themselves, move farther away, stay less available, while you remained. Maybe they have more money because they didn't spend years doing the unpaid labor of holding a family together. Maybe they have more energy because they weren't the one lying awake working through other people's problems. The arithmetic of it, when you let yourself actually look at it, is often genuinely unfair. And then there is the anger you're not supposed to feel. You love these people. You chose to show up for them. So why does it feel like something is being taken from you? That anger doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who has been giving more than they've been receiving for a long time. An old letter I once read said it simply, "In the end, what matters is not how much we have accomplished, but how many hearts we have touched." There is something true in that, but it cuts both ways. It also means that the people in your life owe you the same quality of presence they have been receiving from you. Contribution without reciprocity, sustained long enough, stops being love and starts being depletion. What actually changes things? The hardest truth about this situation is that no one is going to rescue you from it. The family system will not spontaneously reorganize. Other members will not magically step up. Change, if it happens at all, tends to happen because the person carrying the load decides, deliberately, against their instincts and against the pull of the system, to put some of it down. Stop covering for other people's failures. When you bail someone out before the consequences of their choices land, you are absorbing what was meant to teach them. Not every family crisis requires your intervention. Some of them need to resolve at their own level with the people whose crisis it actually is. Letting a thing fail, a bill, a plan, an arrangement, when it is not your responsibility is not cruelty, it is a boundary. Name the imbalance once directly, not as an accusation, not in a moment of maximum stress, but clearly to the people involved. I've been carrying more than my share of this and I need it to change. Some people will be genuinely surprised. They have benefited from the arrangement but weren't fully conscious of it. The conversation will be uncomfortable and the outcome uncertain. But having it at least makes the invisible visible. Grieve what you didn't get. Often the responsible one grew up in a household where they didn't get to be young or carefree or cared for in the way they needed. That's a real loss, even if the circumstances seemed ordinary. Acknowledging it, in therapy, in writing, in whatever form works for you, matters. You can't fully put down a burden you haven't let yourself feel the weight of. Find people outside the family. The responsible person often has a family-shaped hole where peer relationships should be. People who relate to you as an equal, not as someone they depend on. That kind of connection, mutual, chosen, reciprocal, is not a luxury. It is a corrective. It reminds you that you are allowed to be cared for. You are allowed to need things too. There is a line from a modern writer that I keep returning to. The most powerful thing you can do for another person is believe in them, even when they cannot believe in themselves. You have done this for your family, probably for years. You believed in their capacity to manage, to survive, to be okay. The question is whether anyone is doing this for you. And if they're not, whether you can start doing it for yourself. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to want less. You are allowed to live a life that is not organized entirely around other people's needs. The family will adjust, or it won't, and that will be painful, but you will survive it, and you will discover what remains when you stop holding everything up by yourself. You did not cause this situation. You responded to it the best way you knew how from a very young age. That deserves some compassion, not from them necessarily, but from you for yourself. Give it quietly today. You have earned it 100 times over. That's the wisdom for today. If something here landed for you, share it with one person who might need to hear it too. Take it slow. I'll see you tomorrow on Lotus Lane Daily.